Hello, it's Henry Loengard, and this is the Piano Bird. The Piano Bird is a piano-style damping autoharp-like thing that I built out of a more normal autoharp-like thing called the iridescent nightingale. It's a 24-string autoharp built on a box instead of out of a trapezoid. It has a movable bridge. It can actually be transposed any old time. This thing shuts up the other side of the string. Sometimes I don't do that, but you've seen other videos where I don't do that. And what do we have here? Well, these are, as I said, these note buttons. They're not chord bars. They're note bars. I can actually almost play them like a piano, except that is really ineffective. Yeah, they open up and you hear the notes. And I have arranged them, instead of being in chromatic order, they are in circle of fifths order. That's because every note opens up, up to 3 octaves of your note. So you're not just playing one. It is sort of a chord, it's sort of a note simultaneously. But it's very easy to play diatonic scales, which is what most stuff is, and the ones that are related to them in the circle of fifths, because these are organized as circle of fifths. I could keep going. That also means is that each 7 of these bars that are next to each other gives you all the notes you need in a diatonic scale in that particular key. So, for example, that's one way to do it. Now, what pitch is these actually? Well, I don't know, because I keep moving this around. This used to be G. This might still be G. I'm not perfect pitchy enough for me to know. If that was G, that would be a C. Anyway, so you can see it's circle of fifths, which has been hammered into my brain by 50 years of autoharp usage anyway. Except now it's on individual notes. So what does that mean in terms of making the familiar chords that we like to use all the time? Well, a major, open fifth is just 2 notes next to each other. And a open fifth with a third in it, sometimes known as a major chord. It's like that. You skip these 2 and you do that one. And for the minor version, you go in the opposite direction. So suddenly these patterns begin to make sense. And doing the famous 1, 4, 5. 1, 4, 5. And there you are, back to 1. And you can see that when we say 5, 7, G7 or whatever, or D7, it's actually keeping this fundamental from the 4 hanging on. So conceptually, you could think of it as leaving that around. You can get a lot of interesting voicings with this that become understandable because you see that you're just moving parts of the chord up or down by a fifth. So and all those related things, like here you are, here's your relative minor. Here is that 3 that everybody likes, so if you could do the 1s and 3s. It turns out what it means is these 2 remain the same, that's the 3rd, and you're either add this root, or you make that the root. Oh, that's a lot of theory, but it's basically just fingers pushing on bars, right? It makes major 7ths, a normal major chord. Here's a major 6th. Here's a major 7th. So you can find these really easily. And you want to add the 9th? Sure. You want to add all the other notes? That's really great. In fact, you can make a real horrible chromatic mess by just spreading your fingers way apart. You can also make those fabulous diminished. Those are where you skip 2 in between your fingers. And you can make augmenteds by skipping 3, if I can stretch that. So you can figure. I do have to learn this a little better. I've only had this for a while, and I don't play it quite as often as I do my usual auto harps. And of course, it's conceptually very different. There are no chords. There are just notes that make chords. And learning how to fingerpick it is also a little tricky. Because unlike the other auto harps, when you just damp the strings and then you strum and damp the strings and you can let your hand go away and reposition for the next chord. Can't do that here because it shuts up right away. Now, even though this guy is deeper than the usual auto harp, oh, look at this convenient setup over here, and the handle. So it has a potential to be louder and better with the bass notes. Its only sound hole is down here. If it was sort of in the middle, that would kind of probably help it out a little bit. And I put a pickup on it, but the pickup is just a piezo that's sort of sitting under this bridge, which is a really bad place to be. Or it didn't have a really long wire, and I couldn't see what I was doing because this is already built. So I need to get an electric and put it in here, steal it from one of my other auto harps that's lying idle. Or build one, wind one fresh. That's a whole project. But anyway, so that's an idea of how to organize notes and to build an idea of what a chord is. Some of this construction is obviously pretty crude. It's a lot of Velcro. It's a lot of glue, foam, and these are all neoprene and Velcro fuzz. It's the fuzzy part of the Velcro, or the fuzzy neoprene, as opposed to the hard as a rock neoprene that I also accidentally bought. Yes. More as this develops, clearly. It's a pretty good shape. Because these are mounted on foam, and it only has to be away from the string long enough to not be touching, you can have a sort of a feather touch on this. You might also be able, because of the foaminess, to get a different voicing automatically by pushing on the other ends here, so that these are, that's more trebly than this. That might also be a technique, in which case I would put neoprene on the tops of the entire bars, which would be really cool. I'd like to do that with normal auto harps, just to get rid of the buttons, because that's the buttons you need in a lot of auto harpery. I'm sliding from bar to bar a lot, and this is so comfy to slide from bar to bar. Just saying. All right, enough of my lecture. Glad to introduce this to you, and wonder if anyone else who is a real luthier would like to try a similar setup using actual tools instead of a little fret saw that I use over on my kitchen table. Actually CNC creating these, or 3D printing the bars underneath so that they're perfectly precise on the strings. They could be long, there's all sorts of improvements that could be done. But I think I did a pretty good job just kludging this together with spare parts from the hardware store down the hill. So thank you very much. I will see you later.